So, if this is a course about social identities in the workplace, it's probably good for us to talk about what is a social identity. So, what exactly is a social identity? I'm going to start by giving you a definition for social identity and exploring the different types of social identities. Social identity serves as labels for categorizing and identifying individuals as members of specific groups. The definition encompasses both visible identities like race and ethnicity, age, gender, and also invisible dimensions of identity, such as thinking styles or even one's socioeconomic level, one's values or beliefs. It's important that there's a difference between personal as well as social identity. While personal identities reflect our unique individuality, social identities are simultaneously internally constructed and also externally applied. What this means is that individuals create a sense of identity within themselves. This is the internal construction, while at the same time, society or external factors also assign certain labels or categories to individuals. So, externally applied. Internally constructed refers to how individuals perceive themselves, their self concept, and the various aspects that contribute to their identity. This can include personal values, beliefs, and the stories that they tell about themselves. Externally applied means that society or external influences categorize individuals based on certain characteristics, such as race, gender, age, or other group affiliations. And these external labels can shape how others perceive and interact with individuals. In the context of social identities, this duality, it highlights that our identity is complex. It's the interplay between our own self-perception as well as the social categories that are assigned to us by external forces. It recognizes that identity is not solely a product of individual self-reflection, but is also influenced by societal norms, expectations, and categorizations. So, social identity is a component of employees' self concept, which influences values and personal narratives and motivations. Alongside personal identity, like attributes like being tall or conscientious, it shapes how individuals see themselves and others. So, the diversity of social identities is important. Social identities encompass various groups individuals belong to, including like race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, social economic status, nationality, disability, relationship status, and much more. And we've been taught that the invisible dimensions are as significant for ensuring inclusion as the visible ones. And this view is limited and not without complications. It's important to distinguish between the types of social identities and the type of oppression to avoid missing the mark in our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. So, to clarify the context of social identities, let's delve into the definition of social as related to society or its organization. This understanding can help differentiate these significant eight social identities, right? Ability, age, ethnicity, gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status from personal identities and or personalities. These eight identities are associated with the roots of oppression and discrimination. They serve as the basis for stereotypes and discriminatory isms and phobias. Things such like ableism, ageism, xenophobia, transphobia, homophobia, classism. Oppression is rooted in these social constructs, which lead to differing outcomes, inequities, and injustices. In interactions with our micro and macro world, individuals are initially seen through the lenses of race and ethnicity, gender, and age, our visible identities. And it is only through communication that other identities, such as personality, political affiliation, or education, becomes known. So we want to seek to address biases and assumptions. And simplifying interactions based on what is visible, it helps understand how biases are activated. It's crucial to how we perceive each other and the assumptions that we ascribe to one another, as these factors inform our interactions and our expectations of how one should act. In your workplace, if you want to address issues of discrimination, lack of access to opportunities, experiences of biases and people practices, and truly achieve a diversity, equity, and inclusion among your employee ranks, then you have to first assess amplify and address the barriers experienced by these groups, being affected both systematically and individually in the organization. Diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts should go beyond superficial differences and actively work towards dismantling systems of oppression. In diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI for short, diversity doesn't mean mere individual uniqueness. While everyone is inherently different, diversity, equity, and inclusion focuses on diversity related to identities linked to systems of oppression. This includes how they've played out historically, how they manifest in the present, and how they are continually perpetuated into the future. It's not about celebrating individual quirks, but addressing structural disparities. A focus on social identity recognizes the importance of undoing centuries of systemic oppression and disparities experienced by different identity groups.